attention is what people are seeking right now, even though they're not paying any. Oh. So attention is the most expensive currency you have in yourself. You pay it or it gets paid to you. It's the only currency that is in true exchange all the time. What happens though is if your attention is bankrupt because all you're doing is selfie surfing and, getting validated by the algorithm that is your attention span, because people are smart. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever else is out there, they're smart and they've algorithmed you.
Oh, yeah. And the endorphins.
Yeah.
And the little adrenaline rush you get. I've been guilty of it. Like where I get online, I went through a bad thing phase online where it was like, yeah, I'm right. Right. Yeah. And then I found myself like, I couldn't wait for first thing in the morning. I would go check to see who was like, yeah, Evie, fucking go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's like a heroin addict.
Yes.
Right? Like, these people think I'm great.
Yeah.
Raw sugar time.
Raw sugar.
I think we need to tell people why it's called this.
Why it's called raw sugar?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I know why it's called raw sugar.
Because I put a raw sugar in my coffee every morning.
Oh, do you really?
It's really that simple. You don't remember, but the very first day that we were recording.
Yes.
You said, can I bring coffee?
Oh, yes, I did.
And I was like, yeah. And you're like, what do you like? I like extra dry cappuccino, double shot with 1 raw sugar.
Yes.
And we were trying to figure out what we were going to call it. And we were like, raw sugar is good.
Sugar is good.
Plus, because we're kind of raw.
And we're so sugar.
We're so not sugar. We're so not sweet.
Sugar and spicy.
Oh, I bet people don't know. But this series is going off like really great. This is like what's propelling us like to thousands of views each week, which is so awesome.
Well, we're goddamn funny.
I know we are. And
who doesn't want to listen to
feedback
us?
that we get from people, which is super cool because we haven't put any video versions of our stuff out. We've only done the audios. But people, just from listening to our voices, can feel like the synergy and the way you and I, one lady wrote to me, I think I might have like snapshotted it and sent it to you, that to say like the way you two like support one another in this really authentic way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is beautiful. And the fact that people can tell that and they can feel it through our voices, that's cool shit.
Energy's powerful. Comes
really
right
powerful.
through. You don't have to. I think not seeing us is really kind of the coolest part, truthfully. I mean, at some point, people are going to see us and I'm going to have to get dressed up as if I, don't look like a bag lady. But...
Well, this one's going on.
Oh, this one.
Yep,
well,
I have.
Hi. Welcome. Hi. So happy to meet you. But I think when people couldn't hear us, it almost gave us a filter of authenticity because they couldn't decide who we were based on what we look like.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right.
And so they had to it just was raw. Oh, raw sugar. And then then people, you just took us for who we were as opposed to you look like this and you look like this. And then they manufacture the caricature,
And then when they see us both, they got to go, wow, that's cool.
Well, duh. Who is it?
We look so opposite.
We do.
Right?
We do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Dress very differently.
Yes. Although you dress like me today and I dress like you today, which is
totally
kind of
true.
funny.
I have yoga pants on because I went from working out to an appointment to here.
Yes.
And so this is as far as I got.
Yes.
Putting myself together.
I got done teaching and I could not wait to peel my yoga pants off. So I put jeans on, which no one ever sees me in.
And I really should probably practice what I preach because I harsh on people for like wearing yoga pants as clothes all the time. I'm like, fuck, if you ever want to gain weight, walk around in yoga pants all day, every day when you're actually not working out or doing yoga. And then go to put your jeans on. You're like, oh, wow, how'd that happen?
Isn't it funny that yoga pants don't actually give you the same benefit as yoga?
Yeah, just put on the pants.
Put on.
I hate the fact that just putting on the pants doesn't do anything for me.
No, it doesn't. Sorry, people at home.
Oh.
They don't do anything for you. They make your ass look amazing, though.
They do.
Yeah.
And these ones, I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy, Brian Nabavi, who is the CEO. He's the founder of Till You Collapse. And their leggings truly are the best leggings. They're about half the cost of Lululemon's.
Seriously?
I swear to God. And now I've had them for probably like maybe 8 months that I've had this. I had 3 pairs that I bought.
Yeah.
And they are like butter soft. I lift weight and squat and stuff, so they don't go low in my crotch. And these ones, I don't know what style they are, but you'll know if you went on their website. It has like a gathering.
Oh, it's the good butt section.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, the good butt thing.
Yeah. And I already have a pretty good butt from all the years of lifting. But
you do have a really good butt.
My butt's not going away. My belly is catching it. On the front end. Like your butt always needs to be bigger than your belly. Just FYI.
Oh, that's such good public service announcement 47 from
Make
Raw
sure
Sugar.
you stick out further in the back than you do in the front.
Good to know.
True.
Good to know. I'm going to look those yoga pants up though because I like a good pair.
Oh, they're fabulous. Yeah. And we're actually working on a deal so that I can have them branded for EML and Strong Start for our brand.
Oh, perfect.
So we've already kind of worked out a deal on that. We just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet.
Oh my God, pull the trigger.
I know. Super fun.
Yeah. I'm all over
will
that.
love them. And they're affordable.
There's nothing better.
And you're supporting a guy that's just fucking rad, worked his tail off.
Yeah.
That's the best. And we all need to be paying attention to that right now.
I think so. I think nobody's paying attention to that right now. Everybody just wants to do big box, big stuff.
What's convenient.
Yeah.
They know it's not right. They don't believe in it, but they're doing it anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's life, isn't it? On some level.
Yeah. We're going to really dig into that today.
There's the nutshell.
Yeah. Right Before we do, though, look at my shirt. They're in.
Oh, they're in.
Right? Best shirt ever.
Best shirt ever.
They aren't on sale yet. They're going to go out to my text community.
Yes.
And my locals community first.
Yes.
Because they will sell out.
Yep.
So we're going to offer them there. So if you're not a subscriber to locals, it's just evfats.locals.com. You need to go on and be an actual supporter. It's $5 a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
come on, it's a
producing
pack of gum.
content. Like I can't always just do it for free. Right? I mean, I put a ton of shit out there for free all the time, like this podcast, right? It's not like I get paid to do this. We don't have any sponsors.
We don't.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't make money off of this.
Like people should. I mean, shout out to people who should.
Yes. The only one thing about it, though, and we've looked at monetizing this podcast, and so far I've made the decision not to.
Yeah.
Because I know when I listen to podcasts, I kind of get tired of hearing someone like say, well, and this is brought to you by, you know, Bulletproof Coffee or like whatever it is, right?
They stop half
and then I
sentence.
have to fast forward through all that.
Yeah.
Where for me, I kind of take more of the approach that my mentor, Andy Frisella, does, where he's like, you know what? It's going to pay off for me to do this podcast if you start patronizing my business, right?
Absolutely.
You do Strong Start program with me. You buy these funny shirts, right? You buy our hats. That I would rather go that way and you help me spread the word and do what's right.
Yeah.
So we kind of are shying away on purpose from doing any sponsors.
I like it. It also keeps you, it allows us to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Totally. Because as soon as I have a sponsor, then it's going to be like, they don't really like what I say. And what if it's a somewhat woke sponsor? Like, no way.
Yeah.
Right?
Woke.
Yeah. But anyway, so buying local, go to evfats.locals.com, become a supporter, or you can join my text service. What's my text phone number? 702.
Oh, God. 702.
500-1668.
Yes, 1668.
Yep. And do it like ASAP so that you can get in on the first round of these shirts.
And you get cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's
and
not
I
like
record stuff on there.
Yeah,
and I record stuff on there and I send out really good personal messages to people, like just this morning, right? That is only available to people on my text, stuff that I don't put on my social media, on my Instagram or my Facebook.
And sometimes people need a little remembrance of faith, you know?
Yep.
And I think that's what's cool about your texting is it's not nonstop.
Oh,
it's
no.
not nonstop
I go, sometimes
texting.
I'll feel bad and I go like 2 weeks has gone by since I've texted anybody.
It's great.
But if I don't have something authentic and like meaningful to say, I don't want to just text you like, hey, you got this today.
Oh, God. Yeah. All of a sudden it becomes a poster.
Yeah. No. I'm not a fucking cheerleader.
Yeah. And I think they come at the appropriate time too. I've found that they come to me at the appropriate time. Like,
it's amazing.
Right when they come, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like an oracle. I'm the woo-woo of the two of us. And so it's like an oracle card, you know? you shuffle the deck and then the card comes out, whatever card comes out, and you're like, oh, okay, that's my focus for right now. And that's what your text messages are like.
Well, and I think it's because people get connected with one another through energy, right? And the energy that like I'm putting out and then it's amazing. Like literally the second I send something out, I can't believe how many people text me immediately back and go like, Evie, you have no idea. You must have been reading my mind. Like, I needed this message today more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's because once you kind of belong to a community of people, like-minded people that want to make the world better and themselves better, then the energy that I put out, they start putting out, and it draws back and forth between one another.
It feeds.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
cool
and
stuff.
I think right now people are looking for community.
Oh, we need it so bad.
People are looking for community, not, and I hate to go back to the C word because it separated people so much, but.
Were you going to say cunt?
I was not going to. Oh, I love the word cunt though. I say it a lot. No, the cunt does create community. I'll tell you that. But in the land of COVID, people have become disconnected, and they really are looking for threads of community that they can hold on to, because there's so many people who are still disconnected. Mm-hmm. And if a text message comes through and says, think about the things that bring you gratitude today. Mm-hmm.
Or go out and go for a walk and actually say hi to someone, or stop at a coffee shop, local coffee shop, please, not Starbucks. And start a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
I have been practicing that for probably a good 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's always genuine. But when you're looking to start a conversation with someone, it's very easy to look at someone.
Yeah.
And without staring them down and being a creep.
Totally.
Right? But look at someone and notice something that is just nice or impressive or makes you feel good about them.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a coffee shop and look for that, you'd be amazed how many wonderful things you can find in other people.
Yes.
And then you just say it. Yeah. Like, dude, that color is so good on you.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, geez, thank you so much. And inevitably we end up having a 2-3 minute conversation.
Yep.
Just about who we are. Right.
Well, and we
need
know.
that.
Yeah. You never know who needs to hear something.
Mm-hmm. And when you give someone a genuine compliment like that, it makes my day probably just as much as it makes theirs, because they just light up, right? Like, there's nothing better than going out. Like the other day, I was just I haven't been in much of a good mood lately at all, walking down the street, and I don't remember what I had. Oh, I had my funky monkey hat on.
Yeah.
And I had it on because I fucking hate my hair right now, and I'm not usually wearing it without a hat.
Yeah.
I got my extensions out, and it thinned my hair out really bad. It's never happened in the history of my life, and it's making me crazy. So I was feeling not confident or
As
comfortable.
somebody who wears extensions, I understand.
You
it makes
get
you
it.
feel bald.
Yeah.
You're bald. You're
and
like,
this
where'd all my
time
hair
they
go?
were a different kind of extension, and it really did thin out crazy. I have thick, good hair.
Yeah.
Right now it's not so much. But anyway, I was walking down not feeling comfortable or confident, and these two girls were like, oh my God, I love your outfit. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. And they were probably like 20, so it's even better.
They were. I was like, dude, they kind of think I'm hot, and I'm almost 50.
Yeah, exactly. I take it all the time. Yeah, all the time. People are like, do you get offended? No. Please whistle at me, come up to me, call me things. I don't care. Tell me I'm hot. Please, I'm 51. Please tell me.
Shit. I love it. Totally.
Gen X women are different.
Oh,
we're different. We're like, no, we'll take the compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. Like,
I don't get offended.
And if
by
you're
that.
gross, I'm just going to be like, fuck off, dude.
Well, you just be like, thanks, but no.
Yeah.
And you walk away. Super simple.
But that compliment transpired into me coming back to work. Obviously, I remember it. It meant that much to me, right?
Yeah.
I came back to work, and the energy I gave to the rest of my day was so powerful.
Absolutely.
Now, think about if everybody listening to this did that.
Yeah.
And then the people they do that to, they will do it. I promise you, because it makes you feel so good. You want to pass that on.
It's a ripple.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? It's interesting you say that. You go into a coffee shop and you, here's what I do. This is very, so I go to a coffee shop next door. My favorite coffee shop in town.
We can say it. Evans Brothers.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
It's the only place to get coffee. Great, right?
Yeah, it's in the world. I eat, please, evansbrothers.com. They ship all over. Anyway, I go in the coffee shop, and the same guy sits at this table all the time, and he's not I believe he might be a homeless dude, truthfully. But he's young. Right? Young. He's maybe 20. Do you know? Okay.
Abigail's in here.
Yeah.
People,
I was like,
Abigail
I'm not
here,
randomly saying, do you know? Because y'all at home are nodding. There's actually somebody else in the room.
Abigail is the newest, but I got to tell.
Yes.
Abigail's the newest member of our team, and we love it. She takes care of all of our video, all of our tech stuff.
No, she's a fucking rock star.
She is a rock
star.
So
I walk in and I see him sit there all the time, and they let him sit in there, and he charges his phone and he watches cartoons on his little phone, right? And every day he's in there, and they just let him kind of hang out, whatever. And he's super nice. And so the other day I was in there, and I was like, what does he drink when he comes in here? Because I never see him with anything. And they're like, iced mocha. I'm like, make him an iced mocha, just walk it over. Like, please do not have me involved, right? And so they put it down on his table and he looked up. You would have thought that kid was going to start crying. He was so excited. So these stores do points. You know how they all do points. And it makes me insane because I would patronize your store points or not. It kind of makes me crazy.
I'm not a big fan of that either.
So, but they give them to me constantly. And so I took my points and I told them, whenever he comes in, use my points. He'll never have to pay for coffee again because I have an addiction to Evans Brothers coffee. For the rest of his life, he'll get free coffee. But it's the same thing. It's like I didn't have to say anything to him, but the energy that he got from somebody doing something nice. And what I felt was just like, nobody should be denied coffee. This is my life. No one should be denied the beauty of coffee. But it's the same.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
I totally
it's the same. And so you don't have to overtly go out and like make it about, and you don't do this, so I'm not saying that, but
no, I get it.
A lot of people will go out and they'll be like, I'm doing this because it makes me. This is like, look at me. It's like, you don't even have to tell people that you're doing something nice. The act of doing something nice without somebody knowing is actually nicer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think.
Well, and I wanted to talk about this today because the last 2 podcasts I did, the one with Maj Toure that just got released.
Which is awesome. If you haven't listened to it at home, my God, please go.
It's episode number 84.
Pause us
so
now.
Good.
Go.
It's a short one too. Short and sweet, but really powerful. And he gave me a lot of things to think about, because he leads what he calls the solutionary lifestyle, about being the solution.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of not always being the solution.
Me too.
When you start threatening my livelihood, when you start threatening my child's education, right? Those are things that I'm going to fucking come at you like Mama Bear.
Yeah.
And I got to catch myself. And that conversation with him helped me go like, okay, you have your right to be angry sometimes.
Yeah.
But then move on and make sure that you're actually finding solutions. So that was last week. And then the prior one was with Casey. He came back on to just talk about these vaccine mandates and the craziness. And I wanted his medical input on that, right? To make people start thinking. But after those 2 episodes, now I've got nothing because I called people out on it too. I was like, you're not really standing up for anything.
Yeah.
And you're private messaging me like all day long.
Yeah.
And sharing memes with me and stuff. And I'm like, it's not that I don't like that. I do. Right. People need to know that they're not alone.
Totally.
But I'm kind of getting a little tired of nobody standing up and doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I took the risk of almost like preaching at my own audience.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I said it, I was just like, this is fucking driving me nuts. Casey was like, you have seen his face. He was like, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you're fucking harshing on people that actually like listen to you.
Or with you.
I'm like, but that's because this is about being truthful.
Yeah.
So I can't say we talk truth. And then when people piss me off because they constantly send me private messages and don't do anything, I can't just look away.
Yeah.
I need to call them out on it and go, you got to start stepping up. And people have been sharing the podcast more and sharing stuff instead of just like, hey, Evie, I support you behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I loved what he said about those of you who stand up and preach to the choir, which is what he meant from what I heard was those of you who stand up and just talk to the same group of people that you always talk to who agree with you. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't change the minds of people.
We're far beyond that stage.
Yes, absolutely. You are.
That's not going to work.
But the world, it's real easy. And I'm I don't know if I'm guilty of it. I'm sure I am. I'm going to say I'm guilty of it. But we all keep a certain group of friends, right? And I have a very small circle of friends because I just have kind of always been that way. And but I actually have friends who are liberal, and I have friends who are very red Republican, and I have friends that are blue Democrat, and I have purple friends, like I'm the purple friend.
Yep. Me too.
I agree both sides, really, on some level.
Well, it's just because you're a critical thinker.
Well,
right?
because
anybody
just think
that
for
actually
myself,
is, like that's where you would fall.
Yeah.
Right?
But what I notice is when I'm teaching yoga, and I taught this today, actually, this is so funny that you're talking about this. In the yoga I teach, we have a principle called open to grace, like open to that. And I said, that's such bullshit on some level, because in order to be open, you have to be receptive. But what happens is people go, I am so open. I am so open, but only to what people I am connected to say.
Totally. Only if you agree with me.
Only if you agree with me. You're not necessarily open to a strong conversation because at that moment, you're no longer receptive.
Yep.
You just want to be right. And I think we've talked about this before.
Yep.
And so open to grace, I talked about in class today, was more about I'm open to being vulnerable than I'm open to being right.
Yeah, because if you're going to have constructive, respectful dissent, right, which we need, people need to be. The only way problems are solved is like, I've said it before, it comes into our brain, right? We all are just walking around with a gazillion thoughts in our heads all the time. Most of them are probably wrong, factually wrong, right? They feel right to us. Then we have conversation about it. And when we go from thinking about it to actually speaking it out loud, it actually either discredits or validates it within our own mind.
Yeah.
So I can think something, but then when I go to say it out loud, it's like, oh, maybe I'm not right about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that actually is not even a right or wrong. Maybe that's not how I actually feel. Just because something comes into your head doesn't mean that you have to act on it or that you even have to believe it.
Absolutely.
Right. But we don't know that until we have conversation.
Yeah.
And the lack of conversation that's been going on, and I would say lack of attention, which I was listening to a different podcast today and it totally made me think of you because you talk about being in attention right? A lot.
Yeah.
And we've gone, I don't even know how long now, but it's been several decades of not paying attention.
Absolutely.
And this is where we are.
Yeah.
We're not paying attention to each other. We'd rather sit and watch Netflix and take a pill or an injection to supposedly create health, right? Without doing anything. Yeah. We drop our kids off at school and don't really pay attention to what they're being taught.
Correct.
We kind of just want our kids to be babysat and not bothered with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And inevitably, this is where it leads to.
Absolutely. And I think on some level, what attention is what people are seeking right now, even though they're not paying any. So attention is the most expensive currency you have in yourself. You pay it or it gets paid to you. It's the only currency that is in true exchange all the time. What happens though is if your attention is bankrupt because all you're doing is selfie surfing and, getting validated by the algorithm that is your attention span, because people are smart. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever else is out there, they're smart and they've algorithmed you.
Oh, yeah. And the endorphins.
Yeah.
And the little adrenaline rush you get. I've been guilty of it. Like where I get online, I went through a bad thing phase online where it was like, yeah, I'm right. Right. Yeah. And then I found myself like, I couldn't wait for first thing in the morning. I would go check to see who was like, yeah, Evie, fucking go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's like a heroin addict.
Yes.
Right? Like, these people think I'm great.
Yes. One of my friends said recently, and he is, he's 52. So again, Gen X, we're rogue people. Gen X is rogue. We grew up in a different way. So he said to me, here's what I do when a woman messages him who wants to date or whatever on some app. I don't even know what they're called, but on some app. He looks at how many followers they have on Facebook and Instagram. If they have over 1,000, he will not date them.
Good thing I'm not single.
Right? I know. Yeah. So shadow bans to the rescue. Right. But, and I thought that was a really interesting thing for him. And I said, well, why would that matter? And he said, because her attention is on her likes and comments more than it's on herself and more than it ever will be on me.
Wow.
And I thought, man, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Shout out to Abigail because Abigail's not on social media.
I know.
And she's just
a
like
unicorn.
She is a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just came flying into our life.
I know. I love that.
Riding a rainbow. Here
she's riding a rainbow. Yes. And it's so, I think it's refreshing. And it's refreshing on some level to speak to somebody who's not on.
And to speak to someone that's younger. Like we went to Vegas, we had so much fun and my whole family was there.
Oh.
It was a business trip, but Casey and Scarlett were with us. It was great.
Yeah.
And we all agreed just collectively as a team. It's like she's someone young, has a skill set that we don't have. Like that's another point. Yeah. How to being around people that aren't just like you.
Absolutely.
Right? That could be age, race,
right?
everything, income level, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that are the poorest of the poor.
Absolutely.
I have friends that are my mom's age. Truly. One of our best friends is my mom's age, which is 80, right? And then everything in between.
Yeah.
And we got to get back to doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I think, there's this really interesting concept going around right now, or maybe it's in my own brain. I don't know. But our brain has 3 sections to it. The first one is the amygdala, right? The fear brain. And then you have the emotional state. And then you have the actual thinking stage, the prefrontal cortex. Well, when you're on social media, your amygdala is lit up.
Oh, totally.
You're in the fear brain. Like, did they pay attention? Did they look at my stuff? Did they comment on me? What did I have? And then what happens is you're not being fed anymore in the amygdala. And so the emotional state of your brain is like, I'm a loser. And then you start seeking bad attention. Then you get an OnlyFans page. Then you get, all these things. And then all of a sudden your prefrontal cortex comes on board and you go, what in the hell am I doing? But you can't undo the previous 2 stages where you went bananas on the on the internet. And so how can we bypass that fear emotion and be like, okay, I'm a critical thinker.
Right.
Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And how do you bypass that? You go, oh, I'm going to pay attention.
Correct.
I'm going to pay attention.
And what we've got going on right now that makes that even more difficult, like that's difficult, right? You have to be
insane.
You have to work for a while to be very self-aware to even recognize that you're doing that.
Absolutely.
Right. But then now on top of that, we have a truly terrifying level of censorship going on.
Beyond. Yeah.
Right. So now if you're even going, I need to dig in a little bit further on all of these issues, whether it's race, whether it's COVID, whether it's the vaccine, whether it's Afghanistan, name it, right? The economy, no matter what, you're going to have a really big uphill battle trying to even find unbiased, uncensored information.
Yeah.
I had a gal, she's one of Scarlett's friends' moms, and she was messaging me this morning just out of frustration that she posted, and this is just a gal, there's just like this awesome North Idaho family that like raise a lot of their own animals, great family, homegrown type, right?
Yeah.
She sells ducks.
Okay,
like
cool.
Just awesome. They got a new goat. Like
awesome.
We love these people.
Yeah.
She's awesome. And she actually practices what she preaches, and she actually gets involved with Panhandle Health, and she speaks out.
Yeah.
And she showed up at the demonstration outside the hospital because I asked her to.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth woman, right? She messages me and is like, Evie, I got put on, like her account got shut down on Facebook for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because she posted, now get this, it was a peer-reviewed article about ivermectin.
Yep.
Peer-reviewed. It wasn't like she threw opinions.
Made it up.
Or, no, she didn't make it up. She just simply posted the link to the article.
Yep.
And they shut her account down for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll mention it on today's show because people need to understand that this is happening.
Yep.
And right now people are going, well, that's not really happening to me. Well, I hate to tell you what.
It actually is happening.
Shit's coming to you, whether you like it or not.
Here's how it's happening to them and they don't know it. The algorithm of their Facebook, Instagram pages are being manipulated so that they only see what they need to see.
Yep.
That's censorship.
It is censorship.
That doesn't mean my account got shut down. What it means is the funnel by which information is coming to me is being manipulated. Right. That's censorship.
Well, and I mentioned that she sells ducks because then her next message to me was like, I have a duck to sell and I can't actually
sell it.
I can't correspond with the people that were buying it.
Yeah.
So that's fucked up. Now you're taking away someone's livelihood because someone out there doesn't like an article, which is an actual scientific article, peer reviewed
from
that
PubMed,
doesn't agree. Yeah, that doesn't agree with the big financial push to vaccinate everybody that's ever walked the earth.
Exactly.
That's so messed up, people.
Well, and here's what happens in that situation. So the fear, right? So the fear is driving the censorship.
Yep.
So now everybody's numb. So now nobody feels anything. So what happens to so they never get to the critical thinking stage. They stay numb because they're like, you know what? Censorship helps me. It helps me feel better.
Yep.
Because I no longer have to pick and choose what I actually want to pay attention to. And to me, that is blasphemy.
Oh,
blasphemy. Because that means that somebody somewhere thinks you're not in tune enough to pay attention.
You're not intelligent enough.
No, not intelligent enough.
Right? Or important enough. That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
As a human,
you don't matter.
We're all just set out on this earth.
Yeah.
You don't matter enough to actually get the ability
Yeah.
to think for yourself and make decisions for yourself.
Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, like this week, I've just been terribly worn out.
Yeah.
Really
The world
terribly
has been
worn
terribly worn out.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I was super worn out. And I think maybe it was
Yeah.
on Tuesday that you sent me a text in the morning that was like, girlfriend,
Yeah.
our world, like
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
And it was so crazy that you had sent me that.
Yeah.
Because I text you back instantly, was like, yeah, we have $75,000 worth of Raiders
Yep.
PSL. We
Yep.
bought 4 private seat licenses. For those people that don't understand what that means, we have a license to a seat at Allegiant Stadium for 99 years, of
Yep.
which we paid $15,000 a piece for a total of $60,000. That isn't our season tickets. Those are a piece of property
Yep.
within the stadium that we purchased in order for those fuckers to build that stadium.
That's right.
Right? They don't build a stadium without people like me spending a lot of money
Correct.
on a PSL.
Yep.
Some of those PSLs, just to put that in perspective, went all the way up to $75,000, maybe $150,000 per seat.
Yep. Per seat.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're not at the top of the spending spectrum there. But then on top of it, you got to buy your season tickets.
Right.
And I had sent back to you, like literally 2
Yes,
seconds
2
later, I
seconds,
was
yeah.
like, I don't even know what we're going to do. I was like
Stunned.
sitting there just going,
Yeah.
one more fucking battle?
Yeah.
Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? And it's so easy to go, I'll sue you. And when people start understanding
Yeah.
what that takes, like we're not going to let it go, because on principle, we're not going to let it
No.
go. And they refused to give us our money back at this point and said, you can just defer your tickets until next year. Not our PSL, the season tickets. You can defer them or we'll refund your season tickets for this year.
Don't care.
And I'm like, listen, motherfuckers,
Yeah.
I'm not going to support you ever again.
Right, we're
Ever.
done.
We weren't fucking Raiders fans in the
Yeah.
first place. We bought them because we're in Vegas all the time because
Right.
we own a company
And
there.
it looked cool.
Yeah, and it's a
it was
beautiful
cool.
stadium.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, Casey bought these without even without even ever discussing it with me. It was on his birthday.
Yeah.
He got called up in the lottery. He was like, I just
Done.
bought tickets. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he's like, no. I was like, wow, I guess after 24 or 5 years of marriage, you just don't have to talk about those kind of purchases.
It's all good.
Right? I just need
The
to go buy myself a
algorithm
new
of your
fucking
marriage
car.
did not
I'd be
work
like,
out in
no,
your
it was
favor.
my birthday. I just went and bought myself a new fucking Aston Martin.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Thanks, though.
But anyway, people
Yeah.
just don't understand. And when so it took me about a day to try to just
Calm down.
calm down, went through anger, and then was like, okay,
Yeah.
you got to do this like properly and you got to go through
Yeah.
the right channels. It's
Yeah.
going to take a lot of people joining together because you can't just sue the Raiders.
No, you have to have a class action. At
You
that
have to have a class action. So, I mean, obviously that's the route we'll go because
Sure.
we're not going to give this up. And I'm not just there like, we'll just turn around and sell them to someone else. Well, for one, more than half of the NFL fans don't want to be forced. It doesn't even mean that they're not vaccinated. It
Right.
means they don't believe in forcing people
Correct.
to show and how elitist and just bullshit is it
Yeah.
that you have to have it on a smartphone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not elitist. Right?
I
Are
know.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
Not to mention the freaking racial aspect of it of
Yes.
70% of blacks are not vaccinated.
Right.
But nobody's talking about that.
No.
So now black people can't eat at restaurants. Black
Yeah.
people have to eat outside or wait outside or watch the game at home. But when I went on to the Raiders Instagram page to just get a feel for plus I had to reach out. I'm like, I need to know who's going to join up because
Right.
we got to
Yeah.
get out there and
Yeah.
collectively
Yeah.
take action.
Make it happen. Yeah.
So I was reading through the comments and it was really like nauseating to me how now a good portion of people don't support it, but the people that do, the language that they used about other humans
Yeah.
was like, good, let those sickos stay at home and stop killing all the rest of us. Oh yeah, because we're all so sick, right?
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, like fuck you anti-vaxxers, of which I've been vaccinated since the time I was born. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. As I got
Right.
more educated, I didn't take the flu shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it went into just
That
horribleness,
Yeah.
like truly horribleness.
It-
and none of it was based on any kind of fact. It was all this very strong
Vile.
hatred and vile language towards one another. Good, I hope you do lose all your money. It just makes tickets cheaper for the rest of us.
I mean,
Right?
yeah. Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
like, no, you're not getting my tickets, fuckers.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that to me is that everybody is so mad. Everybody is mad.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Oh,
mad.
yeah.
And so instead of being solutionary,
Mm-hmm.
They're like, my problem is bigger than your problem. Good. Your problem is big. Now screw you. Your problem is big. My problem's not as big. Okay, now my problem's bigger. Now your problem's bigger. And it becomes this like dick contest of who's bigger. And instead of going, okay, we need to all just take a breath here because things are happening that are shocking to me. In this situation and in the world situation is like, are you so numb as a human that you don't actually recognize what's happening in the world right now? You literally don't you're okay with it? Someone said to me recently, and I am, like I said, I'm a purple human in the political coloring book. Yep. And so, but this offended me in a real high way. Somebody that I know, who I know really well, said to me, isn't it brave that President Biden pulled all the troops out of Afghanistan?
What?
And I said, pretty much just like that. Many people that I love were in the military for the last 20 years. Yeah. Many people, family members, fought over there for what you don't understand because you haven't lived long enough to actually know what life was like before 9/11.
Correct.
In Afghanistan. And they said, well, that's just how they live. The Taliban's always been there. No. They might have been there, but they weren't in charge.
And they weren't housing and partnering with and supporting terrorist groups.
Correct.
That eventually came onto our own soil.
Yes.
And killed us.
Yeah, killed
right?
3,000 people in the Twin Towers alone.
Correct.
And I remember the day that happened, 9/11. And I remember exactly where I was. I mean, it's kind of like when people talk about, I remember when John F. Kennedy was shot, you know.
I feel the same way.
Generation Xers go, I remember exactly where I was.
Yep.
And I remember sitting in my car going, how is this happening?
Totally.
How is this happening?
I lived in Houston at the time. I was pregnant and didn't know it. And so I was home from work because I was sick. And I was like, God, I don't feel good today at all.
Yeah.
And had the news on. And by the time I turned on the news, the first tower had already been hit.
Yeah.
So I was actually sitting there watching it when the plane flew into the second.
Yeah.
And that just gives
I know,
me chills,
seriously,
right?
chills.
Like I can remember all of the events transpiring around those several days.
Yeah.
But people have lost sight of that.
Yeah. Do you remember, you know what I remember the most of? And I think it's something that the younger generations can't understand because they weren't there. Do you remember September 12th?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how, and I have chills now thinking about it, how the people we literally came together.
Totally.
And people were wearing American flag t-shirts and they were buying flags and flags were at every house in America. Someone had a flag up, and it's not because they were a Trump supporter. No. It was because they wanted the people to know that they support their nation.
Right. And one another.
And what it says, right? One nation.
Right.
We're one nation. And that September 12th was so powerful because we literally were like, we are not going to stand for this.
Totally.
Now, fast forward 20 years and we're going, how brave that we pulled all of our troops out of Afghanistan.
With no plan.
With no plan. And we have people over there who for the last 20 years have helped us. Interpreters who we took them into our bases and they helped us and they're over there and they're all going to be killed.
Absolutely.
And the news can tell you that they will get these people out. They will not. They will not. Yeah, right. There's a reporter over there, and if you watch the news over the last week or so, her first report was her just like us, like we are right now, right? Mm-hmm. Just like here we are. She might have had a headscarf on, but not burqa'd up. 2 days ago, she's fully burqa'd because she's scared to death that she'll be beheaded in the street. Okay, this is how people are living. So when you say this person got censored for the word ivermectin, like, are you kidding me right now?
Yep.
Because if you go to Twitter, which censored the president when he was the president, Donald Trump.
And forever banned, right?
And banned forever. But if you go to Twitter right now, you can see the Taliban tweeting.
Correct.
With no consequences.
With over 300 and some odd thousand followers.
Yeah.
Right?
So to me, censorship is so archaic. I cannot believe, as a 51-year-old woman of a generation of military. Mm-hmm. That's my family is all military. This is maddening to me.
It is maddening.
Yeah.
And when you said at the beginning, I got to go back to that, about the day that all this broke on the news, right? And watching all of these people that are so terrified. Think about how terrified you have to be of where you are to jump onto the exterior of an airplane. Like, think about that. Scarlett was watching it and she was like, what are they doing? Because she doesn't get it. She's 14, right?
She's 14,
so she was like, why? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Plus, she's so damn logical about everything, right?
She's very smart.
Like she's very prefrontal
She's like,
that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would they jump on? I'm like, Scar, your survival instinct
takes over.
It completely takes over. And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But you will do anything.
Yeah. And you have to think about this. They held on for 4,000 feet.
Yeah. Crazy.
Of gained, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
Whatever this is. Altitude. Gained altitude. They held on for 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't release themselves to fall off that airplane. They died.
Correct.
And let go.
Yeah. And it put into perspective, I was so upset about my Raiders tickets.
Yeah.
So now I'm still pissed because it's money and hard-earned money, right?
Yeah.
But it really helped me put in perspective how bad things really can be. And I think this is what I want to get across today in this conversation is we have to start thinking outside of just ourselves and what we just knee-jerk want to defend or fight about or prove who's right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's so far beyond that at this point that people don't understand how quickly we went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to show me your papers in 18 months. Yeah. Where do you think this is going to be 18 months from now?
Yeah.
In Australia, they're actually ripping children from their parents' arms to force vaccinate them.
Yep.
Or put them in a camp if they refuse it.
Yep.
Think about that.
Yep.
Whoa, this is happening fast. And if you think the worst that could happen would be we would live in like a communist China, no, the worst that could happen is you could live under the regime of like a Taliban.
Correct.
And that sounds so crazy. And I know people are going to be like, come on, like keep it together. You're talking about people that are pitted against one another that say, if you don't believe what I believe, I get to force medically inject you with something.
Yep.
And if you're a vaccine supporter, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I don't want to take this vaccine because technically it's not a vaccine and we're not going to get all into that. We've covered it, right? Yeah. But I have the right to do what I want to with my body. If you take a vaccine and you think I should be forced to, I got to tell you, at some point, once you've relinquished that kind of control to the government, what's going to be coming for you that you don't want to have to do that you're going to be forced to? Because it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
So at this point, I'm kind of sick of talking to all the people that are like, I don't want to get vaccinated either. Great. We all got that.
Good.
But now who we need to be speaking to is to the people that believe in it. And there are some people, like Casey's medical opinion is like some people should be vaccinated.
Absolutely.
The risk is so high for them of getting fatally sick
that they should.
from COVID that they should.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you're 78, you probably are going to not live long enough for the adverse side effects.
Correct.
That's just the harsh reality. So, but we need those people to start thinking about like, do you really want to start forcing medical mandates on people? Like, do you really want a country that does that?
Right.
You're going to give that much control to a government that can't even balance a budget. You now want them to make all your medical decisions for you?
Correct. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Well, it definitely is an interesting conversation, isn't it? In the my body, my choice conversation. So, you know, I am a do what you need to in your life. I'm totally that way. People who know me, I'm not saying it just because I'm here. Like I'm literally do what you want. It's not my business.
You're like, I don't even really care.
I don't care. No. But what I do care about is you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. And right now, I think people are. So it's not necessarily party delineated. Liberals aren't the only ones getting vaccinated. Republicans are some of the highest vaccinated people in the country right now.
Well, and totally. And we had President Trump, who I voted for. I'm not a Trump supporter, though. Keep in mind, like, I'm so pissed at him about everything, how he handled things at the end. I'm just, we're in this position really kind of because of him, right? Big part of because of him and how he behaved. He is encouraging everyone to get vaccinated. But do you want to know who one of his biggest contributors to his campaign was? Pharmaceutical, big farm. Right. So, people, you go, this isn't a Trump Biden thing.
No,
and keep in mind, all the Biden supporters were like, "I'm not taking that vaccine because do you ever wonder this?
I do.
This is kind of a little bit off to the side, but I thought about this. What if Trump would have won? Mm-hmm. Do you think that we would have this total polar opposite position where all these really far right wing people were getting vaccinated and all the left were not?
No.
You don't?
No, here's what actually I do. What I mean by that is all of the far left would be like, you're not taking that. You're not putting it in me. It hasn't been researched enough. We don't know what's wrong, blah, blah, blah. Don't do it. He's a lunatic, blah, blah, blah. And would there be Republicans doing it? Sure.
I don't think the number would be higher.
The number would not be higher.
Yeah.
But it's flipped. And so the thing that I worry about for me is, and I see this on some level, if they would stop talking about mandates, more people would fucking get vaccinated. If you would take the mandate off the table and gave people their free choice, they would actually do it.
They would accomplish their goal quicker. Right?
They would actually do it. Now, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but what people are fighting against right now are the mandate of it.
Correct.
People are picketing the mandates.
Right.
People are picketing the force. People are picketing the I have no choice.
The forced mass after 18 months later, of which we know kids just are not big spreaders of COVID. They're just simply not. Yeah, more are getting sick from it. Yeah. The transmission rate is up. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because transmission is just such a small piece of the scientific puzzle, right? It doesn't. We want to know more about this, right? It's like, okay, who's getting fatally ill from it? Are the death rates going up? The fatality rates going up? None of that's being discussed. It's just all scare tactics about transmission, right?
There's this really amazing conversation. Bruce Lipton is amazing. Doctor. And he said, here's the thing. We're still acting like we're in the first stages when we didn't know anything. And he said, the reason numbers were so high in the beginning is because we didn't have testing protocols. So all we had was death data.
Right.
We didn't have who has it, who doesn't have it, who has it, who doesn't have it. So the numbers were like, deaths up to the moon. Nobody's getting it. Now we have like, oh, okay. It's leveled, and now deaths are down because people are testing, and it's like the percentage is low. But we're still acting like it's the beginning where we didn't know anything, and we're just like running around like a chicken going, please do this, please do this, please do this, like shotgun approach, you know? And it's interesting to me because people are not questioning that. They're just
people aren't questioning anything.
Okay.
Because they've attached it to their politics.
Yeah. And it's so not. If there's one thing that I wish, and maybe I'm stupid, I don't know, 10 years from now, maybe, I'll be dead and everybody will be like, haha, see? But whatever, that'll be
I knew she was wrong.
I knew she was
Good
crazy.
She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead now. See, she got hers. But the thing that I wish people would do is like stop and take a breath and go, this isn't blue and red. This is not blue and red. This is about who we are as a country, what we've stood for since the beginning of time, and that it's not about right and wrong. It's about what is okay for me, which might not be okay. Like, do you ever remember having conversation with people 10 years ago about Republicans or Democrats?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I would never sit down and make someone's assumption on who they were based on what they were doing.
No, not to the level that we're doing it now. Definitely not to the level we're doing it now.
Now, if you see somebody with a mask on, you're like, fucking liberal.
Oh, totally. I
and
find
that's
myself
not
doing
true.
it. Right. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if she's immunocompromised and maybe it makes her feel better.
Well,
I know I've had to keep myself in check. I'm like,
but that's the
idiot
attention,
driving around
right?
in her car with her mask. I'm like, whoa, that's not helpful.
Yes, and so that's the amygdala. Like my amygdala starts speaking to me going, look at that idiot with a fucking liberal, you know? And then I have to pull myself back and go, wait a minute. Like maybe she just got diagnosed with fucking bone cancer.
Right.
Like, I don't know that.
I know.
And what an asshole am I, you know? And so I've really had to pay attention. I've had to use my currency of attention to pull my shit together and go, this is not my battle.
Correct.
My battle is to be the best human I can be and to just be kind and buy the coffee for the kid at the coffee stand who sits there all day because he has nowhere else to go.
Right.
So that's my attention.
This totally brings me to, I had pulled up this message earlier before we got on here and I want to read it online because this was good. Like when I said people are they want to do something. And I told you I had a rough week. It was the Raiders deal. It's like we have a lot of unknowns with Casey's employment, right?
Right.
And there's been a lot of people that are like, well, you know, at least financially you're in a position for that. I'm like, no, everything is always relative, folks.
Oh my God.
Right?
If
are you kidding me? We have a hell of a lot to lose.
Are you kidding me right now?
No.
Like somebody said to you, at least you're in a position.
Yeah, like financially, I'm like, okay, let me just break this down for everybody.
Are you kidding? Like I'm
Casey
super stunned by that
He went through undergrad, took time off and stuff when he was in undergrad, got his pilot's license, had a full ride scholarship for engineering, of which he turned down.
Yep.
Because he didn't want to be an engineer, where his parents were like, this is crazy. Just, you know, check the box and do what's right. And it financially would be right for you. He was like, no, it's just not what I want to do. Got his pilot's license, realized he didn't want to do that. Went back to undergrad. His parents paid for his undergrad. When he went to medical school, he got in. And I can still remember just the blowout the day that he got accepted. They were like, well, we don't know how we're going to pay for this. And he was like, well, we're just going to have to figure something out. I mean, he's like, I'll just pay for it.
I'll pay for it.
And he got a military scholarship, full ride for his medical school. And he turned it down. And his parents were not happy.
Yeah.
And in their defense, I kind of get it, right? It was just like their older school. They're like, the military's not so bad. Like they've been overseas.
Well, back then, I mean,
right? And it was like, they didn't want him to be in debt. But he was like, listen, like, this is my life. I don't want to owe the military a year for every year they pay for me, because financially in the long run, that's going to set me back, which it would have, because he would have had to like give the military hospital, of which he wouldn't have made anything near like he did financially when he went into private practice. Right. So we're talking from undergrad all the way through his residency and fellowship, which by the end of his fellowship, him and I were pretty much like, we're not going to be able to stay married. I was like, if you were to choose to do one more year, I can't do this.
Right.
We never saw each other. It was an unbelievable sacrifice in our life.
Absolutely.
That time frame was 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah.
And now he had to buy into his practice for 8 years.
Yep.
He's been practicing for quite some time. And now, after all of that, people are going to say like, well, you know what? If you're not willing to get vaccinated, you can't work here. Yeah. Let's think about that. We need to hear more real stories, and the people that are supportive of all these mandates need to hear real human stories.
Yeah.
So that they can put it into perspective.
Absolutely.
Right? And when people are saying like, well, what can I do? Like, we sold our house.
Right.
Like, I love my house. You've been in my house. I've got a fucking beautiful house, right? I sold it. Did I want to move? People are like, where are you moving? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm sure as shit gonna prepare for the worst case scenario, and then hope for the best. Absolutely. And work hard to represent the best scenario in this, right? And what I said, work towards it. Why I went to the demonstration outside the hospital about don't bring mandates here. Right? So that leads me to all these questions I've been getting from people. And I love the fact that now people are actually asking me like really what they can do. And I understand the feeling of being overwhelmed.
Sure.
Oh, and then the last piece of that, then I got an email about the curriculum here in Coeur d'Alene School District. And they're teaching this fucking woke
CRT.
White, math. And I'm like, I literally cried. When I opened the email, I was like, one more fucking battle again? This is like in 3 days. So here was a question I got from someone, and I've been pondering this for the whole week. so that we could talk about like what action steps do people really take? Because now we're at the point where people realize they do need to do something.
Yeah.
They just kind of don't know what.
Yeah.
So she said, Evie, I know that you say a lot of times that we need to do things, take action, but I seriously am at a loss as to where to start and what to do. I really want to affect change. I just don't know where to begin. It seems so daunting. We all feel it.
It is daunting.
Right? Oh my God.
Life is daunting.
How do we change the people that are in power? How do we get rid of them? Okay, well, we can't right now. And my advice to her, I'll read it because that's a good springboard. The best advice I can give you is to choose a singular focus and put all your effort into that.
Yeah, keep your aim.
Right? It's one effort because there's too many things that you do feel overwhelmed. And when we feel overwhelmed, we know we talk about it in fitness and in life, our relationships. When we feel overwhelmed with too much change, we don't do anything because we're just in a state of shock and fear, right? So find that singular focus. There are too many obstacles and you're absolutely right. It's overwhelming. Find one area and dig in, but dig in hard, right? So I'm going to that solutionary summit in Miami because I'm like, that's something on the ground that I actually can do that then will affect the conversations I have and the action steps I take from that. But it has to start with your own life. And I think this is where people are kind of missing it, is that for one, they don't think their voice is significant enough. And so they're like, well, if I do it, why does it really matter? But here's the deal. No one is coming to save you.
Right.
No one's going to like come in and solve these problems. And you can't solve nationwide problems. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can solve the problems in your community and and in your own life, right? It's got to start with you.
That's the important
thing.
Start
with you and do that in your community and find something in your community that you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
Go out and talk to people. You've got to be on the streets having conversations. Posting on Facebook doesn't cut it.
No.
Holding up Trump signs, for one, if I see one where that shit, I'm going to punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Trump was our president. Oh, really? Well, fucking, is that productive?
Right.
Is that helping?
He's not.
No, and he's not. And it's not and it only further polarizes us.
Yeah.
I've been trying to give this advice to myself and to others, which, by the way, anytime I recommend things to people, it's always things that I'm practicing that are working for me.
Yeah.
Is I'm asking myself, is this helpful? And is it necessary?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So a bunch of posts on Facebook, is it helpful or necessary? Probably not, because the only people are seeing it are people that already agree with you.
Yeah.
And then go so far as to go on the political side of it and constantly be talking about Trump or how things would have been different with him.
Yeah.
Is that necessary? No. Is it helpful? Absolutely not. I would argue it's completely destructive.
Yeah.
We have got to get to the point where we are willing to start going face to face with people, educating people, sharing our stories.
Yeah.
Right? If someone doesn't agree with you, that's okay, but have a conversation with them about it face to face.
Well, that's the hard part, right? That goes back to vulnerability. Because if I sit down with someone who doesn't agree with me, and it's so easy to be open and receptive to those who agree with you.
I mean, that's like brainless,
right? And then but that's what's happening. So when someone says, what can I do? Well, be open and receptive. So in Tantra, what I study, in Tantra, it's everyone. One of our teachings is everyone has the face of God. Everyone has the face of God. So
someone just honked a horn when you said it.
Woohoo! Oh, God! Yeah. They're that, or someone has a Trump poster outside. It could go either way.
Oh my God.
Everyone has the face of God. So what that means is, and that's not some esoteric, like woo-woo, yoga woo-woo thing. It's like, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you still have the face of God. And we've lost the face of God in place of, are you vaccinated or not vaccinated? And in that moment, you're no longer vulnerable. The person wearing the mask, same. If you see me in the grocery store and I don't have a mask on, why do you feel it's okay to walk up to me and say, why don't you have a mask on? I've yet to walk up to anyone and say, why are you wearing a mask?
Yeah. Hey, you idiot, that doesn't work.
I
right?
mean,
I'm thinking it. I don't.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
Just kidding.
But no, I mean, I have thought it. So, when someone's in their car, I'm like, what are you doing? But I have been I will tell you, when I leave school, I teach at the local college. When I leave the local college that I've had a mask on for 4 hours, I forget I'm wearing it because I wear one that's not real. But sorry.
You can breathe through.
Because I can breathe because I teach yoga. But I get in my car, I forget that I have it on. And so one day I like looked up in the rearview mirror and I had my mask on and I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm one of them. And I'm trying to pull the mask off. And I had to pull over. I was laughing so hard because I was like, I have the face of God too. And so when you say you have to pay attention, or when you say it starts with you as a community, I, Jen, you, Eve, we have our own community in ourselves. And if I can't connect to my own community and do my own personal inventory and see myself as the face of God, then I can't do that in the world, which is why we're where we're at right now. Because it's like me versus them, me versus them, me versus them. When in reality, what you're doing is me versus me. And I got to be honest with you, I'm tired of beating the shit out of myself.
Yeah.
I'm super tired of it. And that's where you get numb. And that's where you go, I don't care.
Yep.
Oh, they're going to censor me? I don't care.
And hide from it,
Yeah.
right? And act like it's not happening.
Because the government's here to save me.
Yeah.
That's numb people say the government is here to save me. You know, and if you flip it around, if you literally flip it around, any of the narrative, if it was lib instead of Republican or Republican instead of liberal, both sides we'd still be right here. Mad.
Yep.
Because nobody is going, I'm going to take personal inventory of myself. And, you know, you have groups, you know, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, you feel like everybody thinks the way I do. So you don't have to take personal inventory of yourself, you know, because we don't walk up to people, go, how was your day today? And they go, blah, 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 blah. And we go, you know what? I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, how are you as a human? Like, are you breathing? You feeling good? You like got food for, you know, what are you consuming for Pete's sake? And so it becomes an interesting conversation. And like you said, get your feet under you. Like, stand up first for yourself.
Yep.
If you can't stand up for yourself, you're not going to stand up for your community. You're just going to join a group that you hide behind.
And the standing up, I want to make sure I clarify that, because people that are not as self-aware and introspective are going to misconstrue that as, I'm going to stand up by being bold and in your face. I'm going to stand up for who I am. That isn't what we're saying. We actually have to do less of that.
Yep.
Less of proving someone else wrong because it makes us feel better, and actually really do the things, everything in a given amount of time that we can dedicate to what we believe in every day to better ourselves in that area.
Yeah.
Right?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. And you got to learn. People do need to, on a logistical standpoint, people need to start reading.
Yes.
I'm going to tell everybody right now, the one and only book that the first book I would have everybody that's listening start with is a book called Ordinary Men.
Oh, nice.
It's about a police battalion in Nazi Germany who were just regular men. They were not Nazis, right? They weren't. They weren't part of
any regime.
The Reich. No, they were not. They were like shop owners and just everyday citizens that their initial mission was to kind of go in and just kind of keep peace places. Yeah. Well, I won't ruin it for you. But what these men do and what these men are capable of doing to other human beings, for one, I'll just give you a warning. Like, I had nightmares. Yeah. It's so hard to read it that at one point I felt like I was going to bomb it, because the descriptive nature of what these men did is just so it's so horrific that you can't put it into words, and when you're reading it, it's hard to wrap your mind around. But when you read that, you have to not just read it passively as if it's a story. Yeah. It's not a story, it's you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's you. And I say this to people, and I don't think that they understand it. When you read books about historical atrocities, you have to read them with the perspective of that would be you if you were born and living during that time. These men were afraid to lose their livelihood. Totally. They were afraid to be killed if they didn't go along with it. Yeah. And they were capable of some of the most just disgusting things that another human could do.
Yeah.
Like not just, it's beyond killing, right?
Yeah.
It's like torture. There's a lot
Torturous.
worse things than killing someone.
Oh, absolutely.
But I want everybody to read that book. And I've suggested it to so many people and they're like, I can't read that. And I'm like, this is the problem, because you don't see evil and the capacity for darkness in yourself and other men.
Other men meaning the broad aspect, right?
Yes.
Not men with a penis.
I'll say
men.
he, her, shim.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
However
use
you
all
do
the
it.
pronouns.
No, I mean that
I'm
because
totally kidding.
I agree. But what it's true in the human race.
In mankind.
In mankind. And it's interesting because people go, "Oh, I would never. Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
could
would.
never." And oh, well, those people were crazy. No, your survival is based on your upbringing. And many of us who have been traumatized as children have a deep sense of rage and a deep sense of, I will show you that I will no longer be victimized. And it's deep and it's hidden. And when you're pushed, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, me too.
So when I'm pushed to a certain point, I've said it to people like, don't push me. I have a lot of rage. You have no idea. You know what I mean? I do yoga not because I'm all love and light, but because I have the potential of being dark and shitty.
But that's so important what you just said. And so profound that you know your potential for bad.
Oh, yeah.
And people, this is interesting because people that know their potential for evil and control it are actually the people that are virtuous.
Totally.
Who are not virtuous are those people who are naive. Being naive to something is not a virtue.
Yeah.
Quite opposite.
Absolutely.
Being naive to the potential of how wrong things can go. And that, I'm not even talking politics in our world. I'm talking about within your own life, within you.
Right.
If you're naive to think of to ignore the things and think that you are not capable of darkness or evil, it's not a virtue. It's naivety.
Absolutely. And here's an interesting thing. So, we all have this, right? We all have love and light. We all have dark and shitty. And we mostly walk dark and shitty.
Oh yeah.
And here's why I'll tell you that. And it's not to say that you're not all love and light. So your audience walks on a higher ground. I get it. So they're smart and brilliant. So we're going to give that to you. But I have spent many years dark and shitty, and I have murdered people in a way that was by language. I have committed heinous crimes against people in the way that I treated them. So I don't have to physically stab you to murder you.
A piece of someone's soul.
Yeah.
Right?
So
or their dignity.
Yeah. And so, or I have killed things that were great and amazing because I was afraid, or I just was shitty about it because I didn't want to be seen as less than the person who was actually doing it. And I think there's a lot of that going on in the world right now, is that like, who's getting my piece of whatever, And I do believe that the internet and the selfie generation, I don't know what they're calling themselves now, but if my selfie is on the internet and I don't get 1,000 likes on it, I won't, because I don't put selfies on the internet. But when I was 25, I would have gone after the girl who had 3,000. I would have, and murdered her, because I'm like, well, what about me? And so we can't sit here and go, we're all love and light. I know my potential for darkness. Yeah. Trust me.
But it's why people gravitate towards you too.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
Maybe.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's not like a gratuitous compliment.
Thank
I'll
you.
say it about myself.
Yeah,
It's why people gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
They either gravitate towards me or they're like really too fucking overwhelmed and freaked out, or maybe they just don't like my delivery. Either one, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no one is drawn to someone that is naive.
No.
because they know it's fake. You don't, and the person's not trying to be fake.
Yeah.
But people can feel it. Back to our whole where we started with energy.
Yep.
When someone knows where they stand with you.
Oh yeah, powerful.
It's powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes from the person that's giving off that aura, knowing how capable of wrong they are and controlling it.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with our dear friend Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, oh my God, I think that just changed my life. We were having coffee, and I was like, you got to stop thinking everybody's just good. Well, because then you're always disappointed, but then it's kind of like shame on you.
Well, and it's, what it comes down to is it's our pack mentality as mammals. It's our pack. So why are people drawn to the alpha female or the alpha male? Because they'll protect them.
Totally.
Why are they repelled by the naive, weak person? Because they're not going to be helpful in a fight situation. At the end of the day, the amygdala's running the show sometimes for people. Now, it takes a long time to pay attention and be awake and move into prefrontal cortex, but most of us walk around in amygdala. Well, what does amygdala do? It tells you if you're going to fight, if you're going to eat, or you're going to fuck the person. Right. Like, it's literally those three things.
No, that's so good.
It's those three things.
Yes.
Yes. And so if I walk in, if I'm she's dying. Yeah.
It's so good and it's so true.
When you meet somebody, I would be hard pressed, and maybe you're more walking a higher ground than I am, and I'm sure you are. But when I meet somebody, those are the three things I think. Am I going to fight? Am I going to win if I physically have to fight you? And these are unconscious thoughts. These are just from Neanderthal times down, right? Or am I going to eat you? If I actually had to eat you, could I eat you? And then, like, are you going to fuck me? Or like, is that what we're going to do? Because do we need to reproduce now? Do we need to, so like that's the amygdala brain. And that is where everybody is coming from right now.
And seriously, I want people to pause a second and really think. The first time we had this conversation, it was years ago at the gym.
Yeah.
And as soon as you said it to me, I literally, I think I probably blushed and then died laughing, because we all know that there has been someone that walks in a room and you're like, why did I just have that weird, crazy thought? Like, I just want to get after it with you.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yes.
like everybody has that.
Yeah.
And
it's energy. It's total energy.
Or there's someone that walks in the room and you're like, I don't know why I'm so fucking irritated by you, but I just kind of want to punch you in the face.
I don't even know you.
Yeah. Right? Is that so true?
Yeah.
Abigail's over there shaking her head. Yes. Yeah. It's like, it's true. And when you're aware of it, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The awareness. Like, this would be about how dark someone could go.
Yeah.
Why would I have an instinctual feeling that I wanted to fuck someone when I married happily 25 years?
Yeah.
Now that's going to make some people cringe. That's because I'm a dark human.
Yeah.
I don't even mean to. You just,
because we have a shadow
things,
side,
right? And then the person that doesn't act on it. Mm-hmm. That's the person that is living with true awareness and virtue.
Yep.
Instead of being like, why did I think that? That's just ridiculous. I'm a terrible person for thinking something like that. And I would never do something like that. Right?
Yeah. I'm going to go home and pray.
No, I wouldn't, because I'm in control of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, people don't admit that they actually have those feelings.
Yeah.
Because it's not okay to have them. It goes back to everybody has the face of God. So do you think that and it's hard to think. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard to go. The Taliban and I have a lot in common.
Yeah, it's really hard to
do that, right? Mm-hmm. But you do. And here's why you do. Mm-hmm. Because when you're in a social situation like the book Ordinary Men, they didn't walk around going, I'm going to blah, blah, blah.
No, when they went in, they were just kind of like, well, we'll just do our time and kind of keep things
We'll just
peaceful.
Figure it out and be quiet and blah. But then what happens is energy builds. See, the energy builds, and dark energy builds real fast.
It does.
Real fast, real quick. And you can't control it because it's so, and people, Christians will say, and this is no knock against them, but Christians will say, well, that's the devil, coming out of you. And Tantra says, nah, it's your shadow side. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Yeah. We all have it.
No, and I'm a Christian. I would totally agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We all have it. And you'll go that you would, if you had enough people who were like, you know what, it's okay to skin that person alive. Do you think, would you do that? And they'd be like, no. What if I said I was going to kill your kid? Would you do it? no. Okay, I'm going to kill your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You go, okay, now I can now numb my brain enough to not actually physically think I'm going to go to hell. Because that's the reason people don't do shadow stuff is because they're afraid they're going to hell. Right? There's like more fear of going to hell.
Right.
But
versus like they don't realize that when you give in to that shadow side,
yeah,
you end up creating a living hell for yourself.
For yourself.
Because now you're walking around the earth with a completely destroyed spirit because you know you're going into an area of your life that you just know within you is not the right place to be.
Correct. But you can convince yourself it's the right place to be. So yeah, it's the world is powerful.
Yep. And I have to tell you, me and Casey, on this conversation, him and I went and had brunch one day and had a bottle of champagne and we're talking, and it was probably one of the most powerful conversations we've ever had as a married couple, being completely vulnerable and honest about having those feelings, right? Like when someone walks in a room and you're like, man, there's just an attraction there. Yeah. And then knowing that you would never act on that. Yeah. And having him just say openly is like, yeah, there's this thoughts that go in your head and you're like, whoa, dude, I would never do anything like that because I wouldn't want to destroy my life and I wouldn't want to destroy my own soul and my spirit.
Yes.
But being able to openly discuss with people the things with your intimate, close people. Yeah. Right? You don't just go out there and share that with everybody.
No.
But everything that you would ever be capable of and those crazy thoughts that come into your head and then being able to have an honest conversation with other people about that. Yeah. It's like it opens up a whole new dimension of living authentically.
Well, it's a dimension of intimacy on some level that people don't get to.
Yeah, that people can go like, man, I know, but it's important to get there because people need to know they're not alone. We were just talking about that, right? Before we were setting up shop today, it was like, and you said to Abigail, like, none of us are alone.
None of us are alone.
Right? We're not alone.
No.
But you have to be willing to be vulnerable enough and open enough.
Yeah.
And aware enough.
Yeah.
Right? Paying attention.
At the end of the day, we're all energetic beings. So my energy is no different than yours, is no different than Biden's, is no different. It really is not different.
Right.
What we do with it, the choice that we make is the difference. But it's a choice. Once we lose the choice that we have, then we no longer have the energetic awareness, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. This was good. So good. Jeez, why don't we do this like every Friday?
I know, right?
Maybe we're going to have to.
Maybe. People will be like, oh my God.
No, they wouldn't. I just have to pull the trigger and commit to putting out more than one podcast per week.
It's hard.
Because between my guests and Dr. TJ, and then I'm starting the Free Speech Friday.
Free Speech Friday. Oh, you need to talk about that because that's going to be cool.
Yeah. So, okay, that actually is a good place for us to kind of wrap things up. So back to what do I do, right? Like, how do I take action? I laid it out kind of in broad strokes, but starting within yourself, here's kind of the progression. You got to start within yourself.
Yeah.
And ask yourself if everything you are doing is necessary, right? And is it relevant, right? Yeah. Is it necessary? Do you need to be doing this?
Yeah.
And if you just start with those two basic principles and the things that come out of your mouth or the things you put online, that's a great start. Very just basic 101.
Yeah.
From there, action steps, I would really encourage people to pay attention to their phone and realize how much time they're on social media.
Yeah.
And spend one half of that time going out in your local community and having conversations with people.
Yep.
Going into neighborhoods. If there's something that you care about, go into the neighborhood and just talk to people. I think you would be completely surprised. I know that's going to be like, people are going to like, you're going to fucking knock on someone's door. I'll tell you what.
Just walk around, go outside for God's sake.
Yeah. I have never gone to a demonstration before in my life.
Yeah.
When I went to the one outside Kootenai. And when I did, I can't even begin to tell you. There was one gal there who I had never met her personally before. She just were on Instagram. And she came up to me and was like, do you know who I am? And I was like, yes, I recognize her. Her name was Heather. And she said, I got off at 4:30 this morning. And then I listened to your Instagram story where you were like, it's not someone else's job. You've got to show up.
Yeah.
She's like, that's the reason that I'm here.
Yep.
Casey came home yesterday and told me there's a whole group of texts that were like, we saw that your wife was outside of there.
Yep.
And thank her so much for standing up for us.
Yep.
So you just don't know. You may not have the opportunity where people are going to come up and thank you.
Yeah.
But I promise you, you're making a difference. So you've got to get out inside your community and have conversations.
Yeah. On either side.
Real conversations. This doesn't mean I'm going to go out and tell people what they need to think. That doesn't work. Just so you know, well, and just human nature. People don't realize this, but humans respond tenfold to positive reinforcement than they do to criticism.
Oh, yeah.
It's something I've really had to work on as a parent, because it's easy when your daughter's a snotty teenager and stuff to just go like, nah, and criticize her versus constantly reinforcing when she does something
32.
great, right? And when she does something great, she's like, oh, and then amazing, she does more of that.
Yeah.
Right? So get out there and actually talk to people. And then we're at a time, if there's something that's going down in your community and you do not agree with it, for one, you need to stop complying. And for two, you need to gather people and show up.
Yeah.
And it can't be just once,
Yep.
right? Like this demonstration, that was great. It's not over.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe at us right now that we can't deny. And they're organized.
Yep.
And it's not the majority, but they're just very organized. So you need to keep on showing up. This will be the first year that I go to a school board meeting because of this fucking math thing. Like Scarlett was like, well, I'm Asian, so I don't think they're going to tell me that I have white guilt.
I'm Asian. I don't have white privilege.
Yeah, she was like, I know. I'm like, but they're going to tell you how shitty your parents are because they're white, right?
Because they're white.
Like, and then they're not going to teach you the fundamentals of math that might come in handy considering you might want to be an engineer someday.
Well, considering she's probably the smartest girl in the school, math and STEM.
Oh, fuck.
So, just saying.
And I'll take that one step further. If any of these things are happening in your community and you don't agree with them, but they don't directly affect you, so you're not standing up, that's who we need to stand up. Yeah. If you're retired, if you're in a community where you don't want critical race theory taught, you need to go to the school board meetings too, because that's where the real power in numbers come from. Yeah. You don't have to have something personally at stake to stand up for what's right and what you believe in.
Yeah.
Right. It naturally will start with something that affects you.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But the more you do it, the more realize the power and effect that you can have.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, you've got to educate yourself. Educate yourself beyond belief in human nature, in mankind, and most importantly, in the last 200 years of history.
Yep.
Because when you understand history at a deep level, you will really understand how important it is for us to solve this before it turns to violence.
Absolutely.
Because if this turns to violence, we have never had weapons and capability that we have now. For all these dumb shits out there, they're like, I'm just ready for a fucking civil war. I'm like, well, great.
Because you're not.
Because I'm just going to tell you, I don't care how many fucking AR-15s or whatever else, I don't know guns, but how many of those you have, right? I think.
Way to pull that out.
I think that's what it does. I've never shot a gun. I'm not a gun girl.
Yeah.
You don't have more power than the government right now.
No.
And you don't right now because we haven't collectively come together.
Right.
And we don't ever really want to have to do that.
No.
So all the dumbasses that are like,
and
just
stop.
fucking bring your Trump flag out. We're just going to kill them all.
Stop
it.
Stop it. Because you're not creating a solution in the community.
Correct.
You're creating stigmatization, if that's even a word.
Yep.
It's this stigma, and you're creating something that's ugly.
And you're perpetuating that stereotype on the rest of us that actually have intelligent, important things to say about freedom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I would even go one step further and say, read some history. Mm-hmm. Read a book from the Holocaust.
Read the Gulag Archipelago.
Yes.
I haven't been able to get through it. So if you're not an avid reader, good luck. It's a 2-year project for me, truly. Because it's in fucking Russian. So it's like, it's translated into English, but oh my God.
Yeah. If you want,
hard.
there's it's called the Tattooist of Auschwitz. Read that. It's a true story about a man. It's a love story, actually, that happened in Auschwitz. But
I'm gonna read that.
He became he tattooed the numbers on the people. And read it, because when you all joke about, well, would I get put in the concentration camps? Here's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, not funny.
No.
It's not funny.
No.
And when you want to think about, would I be one of those ordinary men? Yeah, you fucking would.
You probably would.
And so let's not get to the point where we have to make choices based on our survival.
Yeah, because if we're making decisions based on living or dying,
it's not a good choice.
No, everybody's done at that point.
Yeah. And we've lost our energetic intelligence.
Yeah.
We've lost our anatomical spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we haven't lost that yet. I don't think as a country, we haven't lost that yet. We're just mad and tired.
Yeah, we're tired. I'm tired. This week was long for me. I was like, man, I'm just having today is the first day I put any makeup on and actually fucking washed my hair.
Yeah, I didn't do either of those two things. Right. So, yeah.
And we will get to the Free Speech Fridays.
Yes.
So I don't always want my EML radio to have to be about current issues, although I feel an obligation to do that right now. And as tired of people are about hearing and talking about it, I'm tired of talking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like I would be trivializing everything that's happening if I just talked about what to eat for breakfast. Like I have a few of those here and there, but it's like, it's just not in me right now.
Yeah.
So I'm creating the Free Speech Fridays, which will be a live broadcast.
Nice.
It'll start on YouTube because Locals doesn't have live streaming yet.
Yep.
But it's going to be live every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome.
And I've already got like 10 pages of notes of what's just coming into my head that day.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be super polished. It's just like I may say some stupid things. I'm just going to share my free speech.
Yeah.
Like it's my day to just talk. But I was dreaming about it the other night. It's like there's a way that we can kind of open that up to people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So like, what if I set it up in the park?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like that can carry some serious weight and ripple effect.
Absolutely.
And get people to just calm down a little bit if they just feel like they're being heard.
Yep.
So that may be a little ways off and we're getting into winter, but that's where we're going with it. Like sky's the limit.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love the idea of you going somewhere because the one thing that people are missing is connection.
Uh-huh.
And when you sit down with someone, you can't be as shitty as you are when you're on the internet.
Oh, totally. And looking at me through a screen, like even my Zoom podcast, they're just not, they're good, but they're just not as good as like when we can just sit face to face and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so I really do think that I'll be able to commit to kind of taking it different places.
Yeah.
And
that would be good.
Yeah. Don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. I love that. I'm excited too.
Cool.
Yeah.
You got a truth to want to leave us with?
Yes. Okay. Give me a second to pull my shit together. Here's the truth. No one is different than you. No one is different than you. And we all want the same thing, which is happiness, peacefulness, and connectedness. And to remember that is to pay attention to the fact that of all the things the universe created, it created you. And didn't create you to be adversarial with everyone.
So good. Now I'm like, I'm pulling a Becky. She used to go after you. When Becky used to record with us, and she'd be like, well, fuck, I got to go after that.
I have to go after her.
Like, mine is be nice to people.
Be nice.
The truth that comes to my head is that we're all kind of tired. I know I'm tired, right? Like my spirit is tired. Physically, I'm tired. I'm not at a place where I'm tired of hearing my own voice, which that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? I was there before. But when you're tired, that's when your true grit comes out and you have the opportunity to really fulfill your purpose.
Yeah.
Because your purpose isn't just going through the motions, having a coffee, being on social media, watching a couple of Netflix shows and going to bed. Right? We're all at the time and place in history that we're meant to be in.
Absolutely.
So even though you're tired and you wish your life from 2 years ago was back, that isn't true anymore. And so you have the opportunity during your weary times to really make yourself proud, stand up for what's right, and really do your part to help everybody else do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Brilliant.
Awesome. I'm loving having Abigail in here.
I know. I like having Abby. We're like looking at her.
I know. We're like, awesome.
Hi,
she can
Abby.
say hi. Yeah.
Yeah. She's super cute, by the way. She's way cuter. Young and cute, and vibrant, and shiny.
Awesome. All right. And if you want these shirts, remember, if you want my butt's been wiped. And just so you know, if you don't know the video, you got to watch it. It's just freaking hilarious. We're going to clip it into this episode. We'll do it at the end right now, so you know why this shirt is so damn funny. And I'm choosing an organization to donate some of the proceeds to, which will be associated with those people that are stuck in Afghanistan.
Nice.
But I don't take making donations lightly.
Yeah.
I do massive research before I know like internal costs and administrative and who's drawing what kind of salaries. So we'll get there, but a good portion of the proceeds of these shirts will go to a bigger cause. And I'll let you know what that is as soon as I know what it is.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, you got it. See ya. See you next time.
See you next time.